On February 5th, 62-year-old Toby Keith died as a tragic result of stomach cancer. The hard-edged, no-nonsense singer was hugely popular, and his string of hits, which included Courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue, Beer for My Horses, and As Good as I Once Was, won over country fans everywhere as a songwriter and performer. But as big as he was, he also kept things simple. In 2001, Keith explained his lyrical formula to the Associated Press, saying, "I write about life, and I sing about life, and I don't overanalyze things." At the age of 18, he learned a hard lesson about money. Keith was able to earn $50,000 a year working in the then flourishing oil industry, but when that all tanked, he hadn't saved anything. That experience ultimately taught him to be more financially responsible. Around the time Keith was working in the oil fields in the early 1980s, he and his band, Easy Money, began performing in bars. That's when he met Tricia Lucus, who was working as a secretary for an oil company. In an interview with People, Lucus recalled, "I was 19 and he was 20. He was just one of those larger-than-life guys, full of confidence." The two hit it off and got married on March 24th, 1984, a stroke of good luck for Keith, as Lucas would prove to be one of his biggest supporters. Soon after their wedding, Keith adopted Lucas's daughter, Shelley. The couple later welcomed 2 more children together, daughter Crystal in 1985 and son Stellan in 1997. Keith and Crystal had a great relationship, and she became a country singer just like her dad. On the July 23rd, 2018 episode of the podcast Children of Song, Crystal said that Keith's busy touring schedule didn't have much of an impact on her early life, sharing, "When he was home, he was so present that I don't remember the spans of him being gone." After his 1993 debut single, Should Have Been a Cowboy, became a major hit, Keith continued to climb the Billboard charts through the 90s and beyond, with Beer for My Horses hitting #1 in 2001. Keith owns several brands that Lucas manages, and between that and his musical success, he is listed as the 5th wealthiest country music singer, with an estimated net worth of $400 million. But becoming a multimillionaire takes work and an occasional dose of reality, as Lucas shared with People, saying, "Most people think he is just the most romantic person on the planet. It is nice to get a bouquet of flowers, but I've told him, save the money. Roses die in 5 to 7 days. Buy me an outfit or take me to dinner." Lucas was always there for her husband throughout their 40-plus years together. She told People that after the collapse of the oil fields made it hard to put food on the table, he would reassure her by saying, "Trish, one of these days my time is coming. Hang in there." And throughout his career, Keith made sure to praise the support Lucas gave him. While many people pushed her to tell him to get a real job, she stood by Keith and his dream. In an interview with the now-defunct magazine Country Weekly, he expressed his love and admiration, saying, "Dozens of people told Tricia, 'You need to go tell your old man to get a real job.' It took a strong-hearted and loving woman to say, 'He's good enough at music that I've got to let him try, and it'll be a great shot for both of us if he can make it work.'" Sadly, in June 2022, Keith shared devastating news on Instagram, posting, "Last fall I was diagnosed with stomach cancer. I've spent the last 6 months receiving chemo, radiation, and surgery. So far, so good. I need time to breathe, recover, and relax."
I'm not gonna let this define what my future is.
Still, Keith remained upbeat, saying that he wanted to enjoy time with his family and fans, and Lucas continued to stand by her man, offering support until the end.